dump that computer. That is, we would get rid of that old computer, that gadget, and then buy a new one. Because with a few $100 these days, you can really easily have for yourself a new computer, really functioning and good quality computer or laptop. And it would be really more expensive to really expend on the repair for your own ones. With that kind of really realities, we see that it happens, throughout our life. Here, if you're aware, in this country, sometimes it's really cheaper for you to get the entire building. That means that you really pulled out the whole building. It's cheaper that way, and build from scratch a completely new one, rather than spend the money to do some patch-up work here and there, and calling person to change this and that from time to time. But that kind of realities really instills in us what I call a replacement attitude or mentality. That is, if something doesn't work for me, something doesn't serve my convenience, something deemed as inconvenient to me, then I can simply get rid of that thing or that whatever that is. And that's how the way it goes. But sadly, that mentality has seeped into our attitude toward human relationships. Oftentimes we have seen instances where if a person have a certain common interest with us, then we would truly, ally with that person and form friendship with that person. But only for so long that friendship serves our needs. But if for some days, you find out that person doesn't serve you, doesn't really live up to your expectation, doesn't serve your needs, then you immediately think of, it's time to really kiss goodbye, to say goodbye to that person. Because that person no longer is really relevant and good for me, and there's no need for him to be there anymore. But this kind of really mentality is as old as humanity itself. And that's why we have, in the first reading in the book of Sirach, it is about friendship. But it really serves as a reminder and warning about the potential pitfall of having friends. That there are more people who would come to us for friendships out of need, rather than because of true concern, a true desire for common sharing, or for a certain really lifelong commitment to friendship. And a person who actually finds a friend, a true friend, is blessed indeed, it says. And that person has found for himself or herself a treasure. And a true friend, in a true, authentic friendship, is almost like a certain protection against all adversity of life. Well, that really is one kind of human relationships. But then in the gospel, Jesus or the Pharisees poses to Jesus another questions about another kind of relationship. You can call that friendship, but this is more committed, more lifelong friendships, that it is really designed by God from the beginning of creation. That is, we call marriage, because it too, at the same time we have two strangers coming together and they commit themselves to one another for a lifelong relationship. But that had been marred, or that had been really impacted a lot by the kind of replacement mentality that I mentioned earlier. That nowadays you see that if really somehow the two persons find themselves compatible, I mean that they can live with one another, they can really tolerate or put up with one another, pitfalls or whatever, then marriage works. You hear them saying, but if not, then it doesn't work. So it's time for divorce. But Jesus really raised our mind to the fact that it is not only that divorce is wrong, but why? Because it is intended by God from the beginning of creation for the betterment of humanity, for the generating of life, for a sense of really ensuring the integrity of ourselves. Because our attitude toward human relationship, be that friendship or a lifelong committed friendship like in marriage, says a lot about ourselves as persons, as individuals. Because this is not just flesh and blood that, oh, I serve my needs, or here's my want, then here that person can serve that up to me, and I'm fine with that. What happens to sacrifice? What happens to a sense of loyalty, a sense of commitment, a sense of giving, self-giving, in total, to a relationship? What happens to a sense of kindness, charity, that is so important to our experience of human persons, as children created in the image and likeness of God? That from the beginning, we are meant for one another. We are social beings, and we need each other. And that togetherness can only be ensured by a sense of sacrifice, of commitment, of loyalty that usually require a person in marriage. But these days, because of that replacement mentality, that is, if that person doesn't serve me the way he or she ought to go, or it's not convenient to me, so way that person go, I'm going to really write up myself from that relationship. And because of that, when we see that not only in marriage, but in other aspects of life too. So if a baby is convenient to me, then, it's my child. But if a baby somehow hampers or really stand in the way of me enjoying life, or it should jeopardize my health, then okay, it gotta go. Because for the sake of the mother's health, we hear that kind of arguments a lot. And in other areas of life, today, from this gospel, we are invited again to look into ourselves, to look at who we are as children created in the image and likeness of God. The responsibility to each other, to live life to the full, in the spirit of sharing, in committed relationships, not just relationships of convenience, of needs and wants, but relationship of truly authentic commitment and life-giving relationship to each other. So that what we do here and see here, by bringing ourselves to the Lord in Holy Communion, can really bear any meaning, or else it doesn't bear any meaning at all.